With the third pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Seattle Mariners select Kade Anderson, a left-handed pitcher from LSU. The Colorado Rockies have the next pick.
He's 6'2", 186 pounds. His stats this year at LSU were gaudy. 12-1 ERA, barely over 3, 13.5 K per 9. Led NCAA baseball in strikeouts and innings pitched. He was named the College World Series most outstanding player. And Tony, you saw this kid up close. Mariners have to be stoked, right?
No question. I mean, incredibly polished and then also very dynamic stuff. Sometimes those two things aren't married together, but in this case they are. So that's why everybody keeps talking about the ceiling with the floor with this kid. Kind of the most sure or safe pick. But I think something we're shortchanging is the ceiling. He's still relatively young. He's an athletic kid that was a good hitter in high school. Again, I mentioned earlier, his teammates talk all the time about his aptitude, which is something we can't see in video or on TV. So I don't see why this kid can't make a climb on top of being an immediate impact type player. We had a lot of fun with comps. A crazy comp I heard to him for a former Blue Jay was Jimmy Key. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes,
lefty.
I remember that one.
I can see that.
You know, the big thing for me, too, with the draft is I know we're looking for upside, what we think they could potentially become, but I also think you got to post against the best consistently, and he does it.
With the fifth pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the St. Louis Cardinals select Liam Doyle, a left-handed pitcher from the University of Tennessee. The Pittsburgh Pirates have the next pick.
Well, maybe the Al Roboski video we showed in the preview show, Tony, motivated the Cardinals to bring on your guy, Liam Doyle, who I know you can't say enough great things about.
Yeah, however it happened, I love it for him. What a phenomenal kid to be around, and I think he's got a bright future on the mound. And here's one reason why. Last year, when he was pitching at Mississippi, he would often just kind of beat himself. Guys wouldn't really get to him. He would run out of steam because he was flat out of shape. And also he'd run out of pitches, and then you're throwing me off my game here, which is not very good. But he would run out of pitches because he didn't throw enough strikes. This year he loses 19 pounds of body fat. Wow. Gets to work, gets in shape, throws a ton of strikes. Two of the things that showed up this year, oftentimes other teams had his grips. Just like in pro ball, guys will look for that stuff. And then the other thing was, again, that's not going to be very easy to do because he's got phenomenal stuff and is an unreal competitor.
How did you get him? What was the conversation to get him in shape?
Quentin Eberhardt was our guy, and if you would have saw August and September when they first report to school, you would have thought this kid may transfer out of this place. It's not going to work. But he bowed up, just like he bowed up here, just a little too much. He bowed up to our strength coach, and Q and he now are best of friends because of the conditioning level that Liam's in, and he had to work for it. It's a great story for kids that are out there. Everybody's got something to work at. For anybody, again, even though he is on.
Of the 2025 MLB Draft, the San Francisco Giants select Gavin Kilen, a shortstop from the University of Tennessee. The Tampa Bay Rays have the next pick.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't play shortstop for you, did he?
He did at the end of the year. He can play anywhere, second, short, or third. And I think really he might have been our best guy at each of those three spots. And, you know, going back to my babble about recruiting, we were talking about being around earlier today. Being around competition can only help you. The Parker family, the Holidays, the Willets. Most kids in recruiting or parents, they want to feel safe, which makes sense. You want to be in a spot where you're comfortable, but being pushed is key. And Gavin's from Wisconsin, a northern state. In the last couple decades now with these indoor facilities and some of the coaches that help these kids, Gavin's coach was his father, who knows a ton about hitting, way more than I ever thought about. They learn these skills at a young age. They compete against other great players at a young age. And one of them for him was Gavin Lux. He was compared to Gavin a ton at a young age. He's wanted to be the next Gavin Lux out of Wisconsin. And as of today, to me, he is.
I see a lot of Gavin.
The 2025 MLB Draft, the Boston Red Sox select Kyson Witherspoon, a right-handed pitcher from the University of Oklahoma. The Minnesota Twins have the next pick.
He's 20 years old, 6'2", right-handers. Numbers this year terrific. 10-4 ERA at 2.65, 11.7 K per nine, 16 starts. Kyson, Witherspoon, Kade have him rated number 10. Baseball America number 7. So getting Kyson Witherspoon here at number 15, a bargain for the Red Sox, Dan.
I mean, I love this young man. I love the whole story about he and his twin brother, their impact their mom has had on their lives. I'm going to go on record as saying, because I do this all the time, this guy has more upside of anybody that's been taken from a pitching standpoint. I think this young man is just scratching the surface on how good he can actually be. We're talking about a unique delivery, but an incredible, powerful athlete that happens to be a pitcher.
Wow, I love that. Lance Brozdowski, who evaluates all the stuff that comes out of these guys' hands. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, particularly when you put him on the Boston Red Sox, a team that I've talked to them. They do not like four-seam fastballs, right? They only like really good four-seam fastballs is what I've been told. So that's the question here. Do they look at Kyson Witherspoon and go, we love this four-seam fastball enough for him to throw it over 40% of the time in the big leagues? My bet is no. I think they're targeting the slider and the cutter here in particular, and that's why I have this board here. This cutter is sick to me for a particular reason. You see the velo is on par with everything else. Average horizontal break on the pitch is higher. So generally, as you push velocity up, you start to lose some of those lateral traits and those depth traits. But Witherspoon has an innate ability to maintain those at about this 90-mile-per-hour window. This is the pitch I think the Red Sox are looking at and going, we want this thing to either handedness of hitter, a bunch. We'll back off your forcing fastball, maybe give you a sinker, maybe play around with the curveball and push the velocity up there. But that's the approach here. I'm not entirely sure it is. We love this fastball enough to throw it a bunch.
It sounds like a perfect fit for the Boston Red Sox and their pitching philosophy. Lance Brozdowski, thank you so much. Once again, we're giving you live coverage.
With the 19th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Baltimore Orioles select Ike Irish, a catcher from Auburn University. The Milwaukee Brewers have the next pick.
Well, for the Irish family here, they continue the tradition. His dad, Jeff, a 7th-round pick back in 1989 by the Jays. For the Orioles here, they love Auburn guys. Gunnar Henderson was supposed to go there before they lured him away. For Irish, currently outfield and catcher. Going to be really interesting how he develops, Carlos.
Yeah, the defensive question will be interesting with him, but I think really the Orioles are taking a bat here. They like power. Irish is one of the more well-rounded college hitters in the class. Thought he had a chance to go top 15, top 10 here. You also look at the Orioles, they have the most bonus pool money to work with, so I would imagine they can hand a pretty nice bonus to Irish here. The catcher question is interesting because I think most scouts push him to outfield moving forward. He's got a great arm. He's a really good athlete. If he wants to catch, I would stick him there and see what a pro development group can do with him, because there have been so many catchers who've been written off for the position in college who just get so much better when they focus on it. But wherever he plays, I think the hit-power combination is really exciting.
Well, it's going to be interesting because we've seen the Orioles just trying to find catchers right now. Their number one prospect is still a catcher in Samuel Basayo, Greg.
Yeah, let me tell you, Irish ended his college career on a high note. He homered 6 times in his last 8 games, and in 160 career college games, 39 home runs, 168 RBIs, hitting .350. So the bat could definitely play. We got to step aside. The war.
With the 20th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Milwaukee Brewers select Andrew Fischer, a third baseman from the University of Tennessee. The Houston Astros have the next pick.
Tony, what do you think? Andrew Fischer, third base.
He can play third base. He would have played third base for us this year. We had a quirky thing happen in practice. We throw him at first, and he just took to it. And he took to it because he's very confident and obviously a strong physical kid. Him and Murph might end up sparring one of these days, and they probably both would enjoy it too. My comp for him is Vinny Chase, because when he goes around, the Jersey Shore crowd follows him.
Yeah.
I hope his posse stays safe tonight. I know he will, because he's an ambitious kid, but he is Jersey Shore to a T.
He's right down there by Tom's River.
Yeah, great personality, but I think a little bit of a misunderstood personality. He's a really lovable kid. He's just a big teddy bear on the field that loves competing, loves being around the guys, loves being around the group. And I'll let Dan speak to the actual hitting part, because he believes in him as much as anybody.
Yeah, I think this is an unbelievable pick, and I had, good job for the Brewers to having the courage to do this. Maybe when the rest of the prognosticators didn't have his ranked.
With the 26th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Philadelphia Phillies select Gage Wood, a right-handed pitcher from the University of Arkansas. The Cleveland Guardians have the next pick.
You know what? You should be fired up, Philly fans. This dude pitched arguably the greatest game in the history of the College World Series. On June 16th against Murray State, he threw a no-hitter with a record 19 strikeouts. The velo's for real, Tony. Gage Wood.
Yeah, he might be ready to help their bullpen out. And what you saw in the Murray State game was a culmination of his rehab or progression back to being healthy. So we talked about Ethan Conrad. Gage Woods was not healthy at the very beginning of the season, and he had to slowly work his way up to having a true starter pitch count. And when he had that pitch count, nobody really got to him, and it was because of the fastball. He thinks, according to his teammates and coaches, no one can touch his four-seam fastball. It's grip and rip, and the statistics kind of back up his opinion. I asked one of his teammates also just about him and
with the 27th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Cleveland Guardians select Jace LaViolette, an outfielder from Texas A&M University. The Kansas City Royals have the next pick.
Jace LaViolette was in play to be the #1 pick in this draft after 2024 season ended. He had 29 home runs in 68 college games. The average dipped. He hit under 260 this year. He did break his hand, have surgery, played the next day. The dude's a gamer. Jace LaViolette can go get him in center. Harold, what do you think of this pick?
It's been fun watching him play and watching him work. You know, when I first saw him, I thought about Shonewell with the Angels, and then he's got more power, but he held his bat similar to that and all that. But this kid, with the size that he has and the ability to play center field, just tells you the type of athlete that he is and that they ended up picking here with this pick. But he can go opposite field, he can go pull side, he can do it all, and I think the hitting's getting better.
Yeah, he's a polarizing guy for me, quite honestly. His swing decisions are off the chart. He doesn't chase at all. His power, his exit velocity are all off the chart. But, man, I think he needs to redo the whole swing, and there's absolutely no rhythm in his swing at all. He's stiff as heck. He doesn't cover the outer half of the plate